It's not here for me, I'm sure.
Are we ready? All right. So all you listeners out there, welcome to the Indian Wells Valley Water District Planted Equipment Committee meeting. I will call it to order at, looks like 2:00. You did a good job getting that place thing ready. With that, I'll go ahead and see if there's any public or committee comments.
I would like to make one comment.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think we're all aware that Inyokern CSD had some pretty significant issues that affected water supply to the entire town. And, it's always a good thing for us to be cognizant that no one's exempt from, inadvertent things that happen. And, so we're really lucky that we have a great team that keeps our system in such fantastic shape. But, the earthquake damage has hurt us a little bit and we're recovering from that. But it's always good to reflect on, the fact how lucky we have been and how lucky we are. We have a great staff that can take care of, the things that arise day to day. And they are not so fortunate.
And I appreciate you and the staff and everybody that's worked with them because they are our neighbors after all. And they're sitting there with no water in the middle of this heat. So everything that your staff has done, you guys have done, I truly appreciate that. I'm sure we'll say that again come Monday at the board meeting because you all deserve an attaboy for everything that's been done.
Well, for sure, this has been an emergency.
Yes.
And with this heat and one thing or another,
Yeah.
and I appreciate George jumping in with both feet
Yeah.
and helping out. I just hope that the county and the state jump in and provide some type of a long-term help because this has been brewing now for 10 years.
Oh, at least.
And something needs to be done. But I was curious, one of the things that they need are meters. I was curious, are the meters that we replace useful at all? I mean, is there any benefit to maybe taking some of the ones that if we test them and verify that they're not real bad, could be given to Inyokern to help out their
I
problem?
think he's got that answer.
They're past the useful life. I mean, I guess we could send them out to get tested. That's gonna cost us $75 a meter. And then there's no guarantee they're gonna be within a working range. I just don't think they're worth it.
I think the bigger problem is when they've had to replace meters, they actually have to come to us for the labor. They just don't even have, so I was thinking about Stan's question and the meter replacements they have done, I think they've paid us to do them for them. And we just don't have the extra staff to continually replace their meters. And then they have so many out. It is a good idea. They see things go to useful.
I wasn't suggesting that we actually do the replacement.
Yeah,
was just providing the hardware, if indeed.
Yeah.
I think the standard is plus and minus 1%. Is that the American Water Works Association?
How old are
standard?
these on average that we're pulling out?
But even if they had something that was 2 or 3%, that's better than
Nothing.
nothing,
Yeah, the ones we're pulling out are at least 20 years old. Most of them are 40
Yeah.
years old.
Well,
And we send them out periodically. We take a sampling and send them out to test just to see where we're coming in at. And we're averaging below 80%
Wow.
on the accuracy.
on the 80%?
Yeah.
So they're off by 20?
Mhm.
Lord.
We'll get into more of this in detail at the board workshop when we talk about where we
Okay,
may
good.
potentially be losing.
I didn't realize they were
Yeah.
that bad.
There's going to be a lot more discussion of this in the coming weeks and months for sure. There's no doubt about it because they've got some issues and we won't talk about it here, but we'll hear more about it. That's right. Yeah, I know. She'd shut us down. All right. Oh, that's right. I should have stopped him right away, right? I should have stopped you. I should have stopped you. All right, let's go on to the review of the solar production. Renee.
All right, so you have a little handout. This is we still get our monthly report, but this one covers July from last year to June of this year, so it's an entire year. You want to take a look, you're comparing actual versus projected. So you can go to the very bottom. For instance, the first column says total production actual. So 353,279 kilowatt hours. And you can compare that to the third column, which says total production projected. which is 345, 600. So you can either do it that way or you can do the cumulative column. It gives you the same thing. So cumulatively, it came out to be where we produced a little more than was projected, 3.3%. So maybe there was a month here or there in the winter where we didn't produce as much as projected, but most of the time we did. So, and these are for all the sites except well 35.
Okay, all right, I
Yeah.
was gonna ask that.
And I haven't received a report this yet for that one this month, so,
It's interesting, you look at these graphs and you know what the weather, I know what the weather was like in December.
right.
And you know that, because in most cases, we're always producing more than was estimated.
Most of the time.
Except when that weather turns like it does, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it seems like we've had a lot more clouds, this past fall and winter than I've ever seen before. Now that I have my own solar,
Uh-huh.
I notice that more than I used
You
to.
cheapskate, you.
Yeah.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
quick question? So I'm going to show my newness again. So the relevance of the projected versus actual is a function of when we installed the solar. I assume that there was like some payback and we wanted to make sure we were achieving the
There's a
payback we projected.
Guarantee
Okay.
they have built in where they projected a certain amount to production
Mhm.
and we compare that to what we actually produced. Although they kind of have a good bank, I should say, of production that's in there already.
And how
So
long is that production? How long is that sort of guarantee over? Is it like over a 20-year lifetime or something or?
The guarantee portion of this project's already done as far as a monetary
Okay,
aspect.
but we're still meeting, they're just
Yeah,
still.
we're
meeting
just
their
following the
projections.
schedule, making sure it's still producing within, what
Yeah.
they calculated it'd be producing at.
Okay.
You're saying they bank their positives, don't they?
they did,
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah, that makes sense.
they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Any questions, Stan?
Yeah, I was curious, do they still come and wash them
Mhm.
periodically?
We do still have, we renewed it last year, I think, or was it earlier this year? We have a maintenance agreement with them. So any maintenance, scheduled type maintenance to be done, but, and they also handle, like we had some vandalism, although that repair isn't free, but they will still handle that for us.
Okay.
So do we feel like we got a good return on our investment? Even at this point, do we feel like that's,
It's covering our loan cost, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're still, the savings in energy, especially now with the increase in rates, is offsetting what we pay in the debt service for that loan.
no, I just hear a lot of people on occasion, they don't like solar and solar's not great and it never pays for itself. It's nice to understand that like, if we're, because we do it at a scale that's larger than most individuals, but it's nice to know that it does in fact have a payback and
Mhm.
it's just useful data for the community.
Of course, I always ask the question then when I see the SCE bills, that, has been a substantial drop in those or what's happening with that?
As far as, if you're looking based on consumption, there has been a drop
Okay,
since it went online. As far as the bills, they've been inching up. This last year was a huge
it
increase.
seems like
and
twice a year to have an increase.
Now, we don't have the ability with the Northwest transmission line being down to stage or time our pumping to coincide with the
Oh,
lower
okay.
rates. So we're getting hit with that too at this time.
Because we were staging our pumping while we were producing.
Time of use, right?
Yeah.
Time of and we stayed out of that high time of use, which I believe is
For the most
4 to
part.
9, right?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Now we're just kind of pumping all the time.
Pump when we need it.
Forward to even more energy savings in the future when that pipeline's.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. All right, if there's no more questions there, we can move right on to the Northwest Transmission Pipeline. Where are we?
We had a pre-construction meeting on June 20th with Nicholas Construction and Caltrans attended and also our Krieger and Stewart inspector attended that virtually, as did Caltrans. So we did get last week a master schedule from Nicholas Construction and they're going to be mobilizing Monday, July 15th.
Wow.
We also have a class on our, the protected species tortoise ground squirrel scheduled for that morning. It's a Caltrans requirement for our permit. And they are indicating on their schedule completion, including all punch list items by the first week of December. So
Wow. Okay,
hopefully, granted no issues, we should
all right.
be able to get
I
that
thought
done.
that, I know we had a a kickoff meeting. I think one of the good things is I believe the contractor adjusted their schedule to work the 410s in sync with our
Yes.
schedule, which is kind of nice. So we don't have to have someone coming in special on a Friday.
Okay.
So that's going to be that was a good thing that
Yeah, they kind of like that idea.
so that was a no cost sort of thing, and it synced up our schedules.
Is there going to be anything going with Caltrans on the road? Some kind of, because you had Caltrans involved. I mean, is there a certain part of
They
the road?
have to
lanes are gonna be-
close, they'll be closing one of the lanes while
Okay.
they're working, and then when they're not working, the shoulder will be closed.
Okay.
And the
Um,
short
and-
answer is yes, Caltrans is involved, and that means there's a lot of extra compared to anybody else.
Yeah. So they've submitted a plan to Caltrans for approval
Right.
that will allow them to like string the pipe and stuff along the fence line out there and things like that. So,
All right. Well, it'll
Mhm.
be interesting to see. July 15th, huh?
yes.
Big kickoff date. All right.
Mm.
Any questions, Stan? All right. On to number 5, hometown water consolidation. Dune 3
Dune,
hometown.
I don't really have a whole lot more on that, except that they did send us the draft agreement that the district will have to sign with Dune 3. So between all of us, we've kind of made comments. It's going back to the state. And then once it comes back to me again, I'll send it to Jim for review. But other than that, everything's been submitted kind of up the ladder on their end in the state for approval. And we're hoping to have that agreement that we can sign with the state by the end of this month.
Didn't we have one already signed with the state for the money for either Dune 3 or hometown? I
Mm-mm.
noticed we're sort of combining them now.
Well, I'm just combining updates that kind of along the same funding path, but they're separate projects.
But they are still on the same, nothing's been
Yes.
finally signed off on yet.
No,
Wow.
no.
That's
So
because we had to make the
that,
decision.
that same agreement that we're looking at with Dune will be the same one we signed with hometown
Be
and stuff
both the
too.
same
Yeah, so
thing.
the language will all be the same.
Okay.
So I expect the agreement with the state also to be exactly the same, and hopefully it'll kind of come through around the same time.
Okay. One of them was a bit more costly than the other.
Well, Dune
funds.
3 is a lot more costly.
Dune 3
than
was the big
hometown.
one, right?
Dune
That-
3 is over 4 million in hometown. It's like 300,000.
Okay, so it's easy. I won't say it's
Hmm.
easy, but okay.
It's very straightforward.
All right. So we don't know whenever they get signed, and then
By next month, I should have another update for you, or
are they hanging in there?
B&B agreements being sent to the board.
Are Dune 3 and hometown hanging in there? They're
Oh,
producing?
yeah,
and-
they're fine.
They're fine.
Mhm.
They're not like in your current. Okay,
No.
great. All right, Stan, anything?
Oh, I was looking in the GA, brochure, pardon me, the package, the data package for last month. And they did at least give lip service to their, what is it, like 4.3 million, 3.5
3.5 or 3.3, something like that.
million consolidation effort. But I guess I haven't seen any change in that report
No.
for at least 2 or 3, maybe 4 months. I'm curious. I know we used to meet with them on a regular basis. Are we still meeting with them to?
I don't have any scheduled meetings with them, but anytime they contact me and ask me questions about or need something, I provide it to them. They're indicating that they might be waiting for especially the Dune 3 system to be built so that they can kind of build onto that. So otherwise, I think the only other one they're considering is that Rademacher Way
Yeah.
due to water quality issues.
Yeah,
According to their data, there's 5 locations or 5 housing units
And they're all out.
associated with that.
They're all out there by that
That-
Dune 3,
that's
yeah.
3.4 or $3.5 million is a lot of
Yeah,
money to spend.
Renee, and I know the GA
Five
brought this up
units,
to me at one point, and it was it Stark Street
Mhm.
where they had a well go down and they've been water hauling for, is that true?
Oh.
They've been water hauling for a period of time?
I don't think they're water hauling anymore. Didn't they get money, I think, from the GA to?
Yeah.
What I heard
Yeah, I
was
thought
that
they
the
had a
GA
new well,
didn't,
pretty sure.
didn't fund that or
And
something.
it seems to me that's a non-de minimis.
So
They
it's
didn't
not-
fund the
it's not-
whole
well.
thing, but they did give them some money.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know.
Not the
I
whole
had heard
thing they
that.
asked for. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess my concern is, they've got, I think something like 2 years to get that money under contract.
Already been 1 year, hasn't it?
And it's already been about a year. And what I don't want to do is wait until, 20 months are up and then all of a sudden they say, well, we're going to give the money back.
Well, they probably are communicating, I would hope, with their grant administrator about what their plans are. And that they might be working off of the end of ours, because ours is supposed to be done, next year. Then sometime in the spring, then they can then maybe have it ready to go to do their extension off of that. So
Yeah,
states
well,
sometimes pretty flexible in granting extensions too
Yeah.
on that money.
But there is a time limit on how long they can just leave that money sitting
Yeah.
around, not doing anything.
They're
So-
probably spending some of it on Stetson engineers, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Spets will get their piece of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Quick question about Redemacher.
Mhm.
If it's obvious if they were to say there's there's a water quality issue there and the tie into our system, it would be obvious that you might as well set up to tie all the people out there in our system. But how does that work? Would the people have to agree or not agree or what? Because if they have a well and they say, I don't care, I don't want to tie in.
Well, the GA can put the pipeline in,
Yeah,
but they'd have to think about, first of all, who's gonna hook up. I mean, you don't wanna put a pipeline with down there and it's only, 2 customers off of it. I remember when we were planning the one we had plans on, it was about 1,000 feet, and I think there were gonna be 3 hookups. But you can keep going down to the north on Rademacher Way, and you can pick up some more customers. But if they don't want to, I certainly wouldn't recommend they just put the pipeline in, because then you're gonna have a lot
well,
of dead
it
water.
seems like if you got water quality issues happening in a couple places now, that it's going to continue through that area.
I would imagine if the grant will cover connection fees and things to hook up to us, then it would kind of be a no-brainer to hook up.
Yeah, to either hook them up or at least be able to hook them up if they want it,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. Okay, all right. That's where I think they want to, there's money is going to go. I think they're going to put it towards Redemacher,
Mm-hmm.
3 million or part of it. It's not going to be that much though, right?
No, I can't imagine.
Even if you
that
put
much.
pipelines to service everybody, even though they didn't hook in, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
thought,
there's a lot of locations where there are parcels, but there's nobody building on them now. But if there's money to be spent and it's within our current boundary,
Right.
it seems to be to add service lines where they no longer are, where they could, if they were built on those locations,
Yeah,
they
just-
could, sign up to us rather than digging their own well. Because according to my wife, the cost for drinking a well is going up dramatically.
is it? I guess so,
Oh,
yeah.
well, I think, I think she said it's like $75,000.
I used to be 45. I wouldn't doubt
It's gonna
it.
depend how
Well, I
deep you
think
drill
they're
it.
going deeper now.
Yeah, because they're going deeper now, yeah.
But
mhm.
That's part of it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we could usefully use that money, but not if we're told at the very last minute. What we need to do is,
All we can do is try. I mean, if we have
Yeah.
some project that we think might be worth looking at, is approach them because they're going to make the final decision.
Uh,
I don't want to extend this a lot, but George, didn't you tell me that that the GA's been talking about consolidations and how we fit into that? And I get the feeling they don't think we'll do it or want to do it.
I don't know how they could think we're not gonna do it. We've got applications in, they know we're
Yeah.
waiting funding to get started. They have proposed, working with us.
Okay.
Our relationship isn't the greatest, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of working together where we can.
Okay. They do understand that we're pro consolidation where it's required.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that much, well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say they do, but I'm sure that we know we are pro consolidation and we want to see it happen.
Okay. All right.
I'll say that much.
All right. Anything else on that? All right. La Mirage housing area, pipeline replacement.
To be honest, I wasn't even gonna have this on the agenda.
You're not ready to
But
talk
I
about
was
it?
out some of the days last week and I didn't get to pull it off.
Snuck it
so-
on. Ty, good work.
Yeah, I have no update on that at all.
Okay.
So
All right.
we can't
Yes.
apply for anything for that until we have our consolidation agreements in place.
Okay. So there's, because that's a big area to deal with too, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
That's not a cheap,
That is gonna
Delivery.
be a big project.
that's going to be a big project. Okay. Do you foresee it's going to happen eventually?
It has to.
It has to? Okay. All right. Okay, we'll skip over that and then I don't have a problem keeping it on here, even if you have nothing to report. I don't think, do you think that anything can start happening
I'll
on
move it
it?
to the future agenda category.
Okay, put it in the future agenda.
I have
category.
one thing in the future that is gonna get put on next month.
Okay, I agree with that, so we won't lose track of it.
That keeps me from losing track of it,
Okay,
yes.
great. All right, arsenic treatment facility. I understand that we got some medium on the way.
We still have plant 2 online. It's running with well 10.
Yeah.
We did get filter media delivery from Pure Flow for the other plant that was received yesterday. So at this point, we've had a lot going on helping out the CSD, but the plan is now to start working on that. And it will take some time to get that. up
Yeah,
and-
how do you, those tanks have got to be, working, they're hot. Everything inside is just,
Yeah,
yeah, if it's 120 outside, it's probably 160 inside.
it's going to be slow going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
I'll tell you, it was impressive seeing the delivery. There are two semi-truck flatbeds with,
Mhm.
the big bags.
bags of medium
Yeah.
Mhm.
and all that's,
That-
how's that put in there? Is it all by hand or by conveyor belt or by
Crane.
wheelbarrow,
By a crane, yeah.
by crane?
We have a
We'll
crane.
Rent a crane.
Yeah, but it still takes a while to do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Are you contemplating waiting until we get cooler weather or can we wait?
I don't know. That would be a Jason call.
Call?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's on
Alright.
vacation. So.
We'll just have to see how it fits into the schedule.
Mm.
There may be,
We don't
there may
wanna-
be adjustments in work schedules where we do some of the work later in the evening or earlier.
Yeah, we don't want to risk any health
issues.
issues or anything like that
No.
over different door.
There are
Especially if
procedures.
we're keeping up with production.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no urgent, it's.
I guess.
It's urgent, but we.
We
got
would
a
like to
lot
get that
work.
plan online. We have one,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
And, our usage has been down a little bit over the last few years, so, it shouldn't be quite as urgent as 2 or 3 years ago. when we
But
were
it is going to be
pumping 500,000
117 degrees.
Yeah, this week will be the test.
This is definitely a test.
That's right. This
I'll
week.
just say that like, we don't necessarily have all the redundancy we'd like in our system
Exactly.
either. So, anything we can do to improve our redundancy and our
Alright.
ability
Oh,
to
yeah.
come back, there's,
Right. Well, now, is this material going to come in this week on?
It's
I think
here.
Jason said
It's
gonna
already here.
Arrive on Monday?
Yeah, we got it yesterday.
Yesterday it
Oh,
arrived.
we got it already?
Yep.
Because it was in New York. Or maybe that was,
I don't
yesterday
know.
was.
That was an older,
I think they left New
Okay,
York
so it
last
came in
Friday or
When
something.
they projected it would. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great.
cool. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to risk any injuries or heat stroke or heat anything. So if you guys plan it,
Exactly.
plan it well. I'm sure you will.
They
All
won't
right.
risk anybody.
With that future agenda, you said you had a future agenda item we want to put on the agenda and then put this.
I have several placeholders, but next month I'll probably add the lead service line inventory update so you can get where we're at with that.
Lead service lines, is that what you said?
Yeah, all of our service lines have to be inventoried by October, middle of October sometime. That's an EPA requirement for all water systems, also a state of California requirement, but
We don't
Yeah.
have any, do we have lead service lines still?
we may not have lead service lines, but we might have some fittings in the really
okay.
old areas of town,
Okay.
but
We've done some percentage. Have we found any?
let's wait till the
Let's
update.
wait for
Okay.
the update. Yeah, let's wait for the update. No, because what's in my mind is I know our illustrious presidents recently said there are no lead anything in water lines in the United States anymore.
Oh, that,
Remember from his.
you can't. There hasn't been since like 86.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So anything that's newer than 86, we already assume,
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
I
I'll
will-
give you the
we'll deal
whole
with that. Okay.
rundown.
So,
next
all
one.
right.
So there are things that are older than 86.
So is that the only one coming onto the active
Yes.
report? Okay.
For now.
Deal. Any,
Could be.
we might, yeah. Okay. All right.
Anything here that's of particular interest for the workshop?
Uh,
I didn't see anything that I thought needed to roll over.
Yeah, I have on here one thing, George, still is that imported water pipeline infrastructure upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to be required, because I saw some emails going back and forth from Krieger and Stewart about what would have to be done here.
Mhm.
It would be nice to talk about that briefly and get a good feel for what it is and what the costs would be. In other words,
Okay.
if that pipeline did tie in, what does it mean to us?
Yep.
And that includes operations too, and
Yes.
certifications, everything. I appreciate that. I think that's a good one to have on the pipeline.
Noted.
Of cost. I thought George volunteered to tell us come our next meeting, what the impact of.
That's correct.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, and he is, that's different.
I's already worked on that and that'll be at the next board meeting.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is at the the workshop, we're going to spend some time talking about what our system would require should the pipeline be tightened.
Yeah. So, and yeah, that sort of adds into everything if that was to happen as well. Yeah, it's all money, every best bit. No, especially in this weather. I tried it, but you can't water it enough. Okay, anything else? All right, we'll adjourn the meeting then at 2:25.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make sure you got done in time so that the finance meeting could start